Hi everybody, this is Alchemist2 and I'm back again with another movie review. You'll have to excuse me, I got a really sore throat and it's kind of difficult for me to do a review, but despite that, I'm going to do the review anyway. Today, my dad took me to see Water for Elephants, and hands down this year, I think this is the most spectacular film I've seen in the entire year. In fact, if not Oscar worthy. And I'm hoping it doesn't get lost in the shuffle when Oscars actually crop up and they start to judge films based on story and costume and soundtrack, as well as the caliber of actors and actresses. So I really feel that Robert Pattinson, he was absolutely sensational, and Reese Witherspoon, she just sparkled on the screen, and I thought that I had seen an angel. And the story itself, I think it might have some elements of truth to it because they didn't sugarcoat the Depression, which I appreciated, that being a history buff and loving the Depression, even though it's way before my time. I like the era of history because it's just fascinating to me, and through the hardest times in our history, a lot of really fantastic stories have been told, and it just proves the determination and the grit of the people that were alive in that time. And no exception to the main character of Jacob Jacobsky, who I just fell head over heels for Jacob, and I just love him because he had this tenacity about him. He was just a really gorgeous character and had a good heart, and you could tell that he was beautiful inwardly and only wanted the best for Marlena. And of course you learn this later on in the film, but I'm not going to say how or when this happens. But August as a ringmaster is completely insane. He's absolutely nuts. He's obsessed with power. He's a control freak. He is very commanding, and of course he says something about potency earlier on. I think he was parading his virility in a way, and I thought that was very intriguing because he knew what was going on later on, within the duration of the film. I'm not going to give it away because if I do, it'll just ruin everything, but this is just it's a beautiful story. It is just spectacular, exceptional, extraordinary, phenomenal. It is nothing short of rhapsodic, and one of my favorite composers of all time, James Newton Howard, was responsible for the background soundtrack music, and it was just absolutely splendid. It is nothing short of glorious. And I even got the soundtrack because I loved everything about this movie, even the drama involved and the emotion and the accuracy depicted within the clothing that the characters wore. Costuming was just right on. The jargon was perfect. Everything about it was just absolutely accurate, I felt. And I felt like I was transported back to the Roaring '20s and the Depression era. And it just was a really uplifting film, even though I did cry. And it's really lovely, just absolutely breathtaking as a love story. And Robert Pattinson. Now, I'm not a fan of the Twilight series. Sorry, I cannot stand Twilight. I'm really sorry. I can't stand Twilight. I prefer Bram Stoker, thank you very much, because that's what I think a real vampire should be. But what do I know? But anyway, I thought that Robert Pattinson as Jacob, he did such a fantastic job. really think that he deserves an Oscar for this, as well as Reese. And Reese, as I said, she was angelic, so beatific, and if nothing else, the animals in this film were just absolutely beautiful. The horses in this movie, the white, I think they were Alpalousas or Alsatians. I'm not sure, but either that or they are Arabians. But oh my lord, I just love white horses and dapples and Appaloosas. They're pretty. They didn't have any Appaloosas in this, um, but they were just so beautiful. And of course, the other animals that they had were really interesting as well, and neat. And there was one scene where I just had had to do this with August. I just wanted to wring his neck, because it was a scene where Jacob had to feed one of the cats, and he put his arm in the cage, and the lion grabbed onto his arm, and he fell down. Of course, it looked like it really hurt, and I said, "Are you all right?" As like feigned concern. He was actually laughing at him and enjoying his pain. See, he's a little cuckoo in the head, but you figure that out later on in the movie, and you just see how demented he is and how twisted and cruel. But karma karma creeps up on him near the end of the film, and I actually heard some people applauding behind me, and I did a little bit of an applaud myself. I shouldn't have. I really shouldn't applaud somebody else's misery or downfall, but he got what was coming to him. As far as movies are concerned, Water for Elephants, I think it deserves 4 stars. 5 if I could give it 5. 2 thumbs way up. Hands down. No doubt about it. This movie, if you don't go to see any other movie during the weekend, this is the movie to see, because it really doesn't have a lot of cursing in it, and the sex is implied. It's actually a very beautiful scene that I really enjoyed, and it's just absolutely breathtaking, just gorgeous movie. And that's all I have to say. I'm sorry, my throat's hurting quite a bit, and I'm hoping that it goes away, but that's my recommendation for Water for Elephants, because as far as I'm concerned, this is the movie that the critics are going to definitely have to put on their top 10 list, because personally I think that it's an Oscar contender.